What if your greatest financial breakthrough isn't waiting in a better economy, but in a place you've already given up on? Hagar thought the wilderness was the end. God saw it as the place where he would reveal his provision. Hagar had lost almost everything. She had no home, no income, no security, only a small amount of water and her son. Eventually, the water ran out. She believed there was no future left. Genesis 21 verses 15 to 16. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the boy under one of the bushes. Then she sat down opposite him and said, "I cannot watch the boy die." From Hagar's perspective, the wilderness was empty. Financial hardship can narrow our vision. When fear grows, we stop seeing possibilities. We assume there are no opportunities. Nothing will change. I'm stuck. Scarcity often affects our thinking before it affects our circumstances. Hagar wasn't only thirsty. She had lost hope. Then something remarkable happened. God spoke to Hagar, and he opened her eyes. Genesis 21 verse 19. Then God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. Notice carefully. God didn't create the well at that moment. The text says he opened her eyes. The provision was there. She simply couldn't see it while overwhelmed by fear. Sometimes our greatest need isn't more money. It's greater perspective. When we're anxious, we may overlook resources we already have. A skill we haven't developed. A relationship we've never asked for advice. A business idea we've ignored. An opportunity to learn. A chance to serve someone else's need. This doesn't mean every problem has an easy solution. But it reminds us not to let fear become our only lens. James 1 verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, and it will be given to you. Wisdom helps us recognize opportunities we might otherwise miss. God's provision doesn't always arrive the way we expect. Sometimes he provides. Wisdom before wealth. Direction before increase. Relationships before resources. Opportunities before income. Hagar's story reminds us that God sees us even when we feel forgotten. Genesis 16 verse 13. You are the God who sees me. The God who sees you also knows what you need. If you're walking through a financial wilderness today, ask yourself, what resources has God already placed in my hands? What skill could I strengthen? Who could I learn from? Where have I stopped looking because I've assumed there's no hope? Don't let discouragement blind you to the well that may already be nearby. Hagar entered the wilderness believing she had reached the end. She left knowing God had never abandoned her. Financial deserts don't last forever. Sometimes God uses them to teach us dependence, resilience, and faithful stewardship. Philippians 4 verse 19. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. When fear says, there's nothing left, faith asks, Lord, open my eyes to what you have already provided. Comment, share, and subscribe to Graceful Grace Finance.